Hi, I'm Sarah from SarahTypes.com. Today I'm going to show you how to get started with modern calligraphy. The difference between modern calligraphy and traditional calligraphy, to me, is traditional calligraphy is a practice and a skill that has a style, a specific style like Spencerian, that you practice for a long time and emulate that exactly. And it's definitely more formal, and you would do that with a traditional nib and ink pen. Whereas with modern calligraphy, I think it's a little bit more free. You're allowed to put a little bit more of your personality into it. There isn't a set style that you need to emulate, and you can use different tools. You can use a more of a brush pen style, or you can use the nib and ink. And I think it takes a lot less time to practice this style because you are able to infuse it with what you think would look better. Generally, if it all balances out, it should look good in the end. If you want to get started, this is a great place to begin. However, I strongly urge you to check out other resources. I have a new blog post with some links to other people's works and practice sheets that you can try. Everybody has a different take on it, and you might learn something new from someone else, but this is kind of how I learned, and this is my take on modern calligraphy, and I think it would be helpful for someone. It would be helpful for me if I was starting. So I'm going to have a free download where you can practice your strokes and drills. These are the basic strokes that when you put them all together, they create letters. And then I also have sheets that you can buy for lowercase and uppercase. And check out my blog post for more information on all the tools you can use. In this tutorial, I'm going to be using the tombow pen. However, you can also use a nib and ink pen. I have details about that in the blog post, so stay tuned.
Like I said, I'm using the tombow pen. Specifically, this is the fudenosuke pen, and I'm using the soft tip brush. You want to make sure when you're holding your pen that you're not gripping it and holding it really tight. You want to have a more relaxed hand with your fingers near the point of the pen. And you want to make sure you're using it on more of a 45-degree angle, not straight up and not totally to the side. You want it to be relaxed and comfortable so that you have the ability to move your whole arm and not just your fingers and your wrist. So let's get started. I have the Strokes and Drills worksheet, and this is a free download. You can grab that in the description box below. It basically just has some strokes. All of these, when used in combination with each other, will create letters. So they're great to get a handle of before you go into the letters because it's just going to make your lettering that much easier. So I'm going to grab some tracing paper. This is what I have on hand. This way we can reuse the sheets, and also it's a really nice surface to write on when you have a brush pen. It kind of saves the fibers in your pen. So the first stroke is a standard downstroke. This is where you're going to apply the most pressure, and just try doing these over and over again until you get a really nice straight line. The stroke after is your upstroke. This is where you're going to apply the least amount of pressure. You want it to be very light so it turns out very thin. Now we're going to use both of these together. You want to have a nice pressure on the downstroke and just flick it up on the upstroke nice and light. And we're going to do this again, but bringing the upstroke all the way up. Make sure you're taking your time. The slower you're going, the better. The slower you are, the nicer your strokes are going to turn out. And so now we're just flipping that and going up with the light stroke and down with more pressure. So now we're going to move on to the O's. They're a little bit tricky. I'm going to show you some bad examples and some good examples. The first one I drew is not a great one. The second one is better, and I'm going to explain why. Okay, so I'm going to draw 4 O's in a row right now, and none of these are going to be good, and I'm going to tell you why. You want to make sure you start a little bit over to the right at about like 1 o'clock, 1:30, and then bring it over. And when you bring it over, gradually go into your thick stroke. If you start more on the 12 o'clock mark like this, it's not going to look gradual, so it's going to look a bit choppy. And if you don't let go early enough, then you're going to have some of that thick stroke coming into the thin on the way back. These are all examples of what it really shouldn't look like. Probably starting too late in the game and bringing it up too late, or going way too fast. You want to make sure you slow it way down and take your time. So you can see in this one that I'm doing now that I'm definitely taking my time, going a bit slower, and it's looking a lot smoother. Here's another example where I'm going real slow. It makes a big difference compared to the other ones. Okay, so now we're going back to one that's a little less difficult, and this is just practicing going up and down with your pressure and releasing that pressure, so you have thin strokes and thick strokes. Okay, in the second page we have some more strokes. Some of them are a little more flourishy. The first one is an S, which is kind of difficult like the O. I'm going to show you my first example, which is not going to be great. Again, I started too late on my downstroke and then too early on my upstroke. So you want to make sure that you're doing it gradually like the O. The second one was also not a great example, and it starts in the same place as the last one. So I'm going to start sooner and then let go later. And you can see in the last one, it looks a lot better. For this stroke, it's the same kind of idea as the O's. You want to make sure you're doing it gradual. As you can see in the first one, the second loop is not so pretty. But when I take my time and do it the second time, it's looking a lot better. And you'll see in this one, I'm going way too fast. And you can see the gradual on the when I come down from loop is not nice. But the second time, I've got it. So it does take some practice. The first time when you start writing, even if you had practice the day before, you might want to warm up and get those strokes in check. Okay, these are the last strokes. They're just your entrance and exit strokes. You can't really see them because I kind of cut it off with the camera angle, but they're pretty simple. Okay, so we're going to start in the uppercase alphabet now. You can grab this sheet from my Etsy shop, and I'll leave the link in the description below. For the uppercase, I'm just going to kind of show you it so you can just sit back, relax, and watch me do the letters. But for the lowercase, I'm going to break them down for you and show you how the strokes we just created work together to create the letters, and where you should be going up and where you should be going down, etc. So just chill out for this part, and then make sure you're listening for the lowercase so you can learn how the letters are actually created. Okay, so I'm just going to reuse the same tracing paper I used for the uppercase, and now I'm going to start the lowercase. So in the first example, I'm showing you how I would write it if I was just writing with a pen and doing normal script. But in the second example, I'm showing you it as a breakdown of the strokes all being put together. So I have my entrance stroke, and then that kind of C shape, and then a downstroke with a little flip up that's kind of like your exit stroke. So all of those together will make the A. And you can see in my last example, using all of those strokes to create the full letter. So for each of these letters, I'm going to try and break down the different strokes. Usually there's like 2 or 3, sometimes 4, that make the whole letter. And I apologize for the sunshine and the shadows. It was a bad time of day to film.
Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something new. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below and subscribe for more tutorials.